The first person I'd like to bring out is someone that I met many, many years ago when I was first getting going in the business, and when I was in the original company. And I was very excited in that company. But one of my friends, Don Greneau, who I told you about, that was in the other company, invited me down to see a seminar with Jim Rohn in it. And yes. And I sat through this seminar with Jim, and Jim told me some stuff there that day that made a major difference for me. And it's going to make a major difference for you, too. You know, you can hear all this information that we're talking to you about, and we can give you all the stuff. But ultimately, if you as an individual don't do something with it, okay, nothing's going to happen, okay? We can make the tablets for you, okay, but you're the one that's got to swallow them every single day. We can tell you what to say about the brochures and what to do, but you know, we can't be the ones that hand them out for you every single day. You're the one that's got to do that. We can tell you what to do with the recruiting and so on, but you're ultimately the one that's got to go out and do something. That's something you got to do. And you're the one that's got to take the responsibility for everything that happens in your life. And fortunately for me, I found that out at a very early age. And fortunately for me, I learned it because when I started Herbalife, I only had me. That was all I had. I didn't have a sponsor. I didn't have someone that got to pump me up every day. You know, I didn't have someone that I could lean on, that they could say, go down and, you know, he'll help you out. No, I had to do all that. And when I learned that from Jim, that it was ultimately going to be up to me for everything that was going to happen in my life, okay, I became a different person. And let me tell you something, you can become different, okay? I mean, I was just a kid that was with a 9th grade education, okay, that had some great ideas, okay? But if you continue to work and work and work, and then also work on yourself as an individual, it's amazing what can happen in your life. So today, as I bring him up, I want you to really tune in. You're listening, write every single thing down that he says, because there's no question, okay, with the stuff that he's going to be giving you here today, incredible things can happen to you. So I'd like to invite my good friend, Jim Rohn. Come on out.
The same wind blows on us all, the wind of circumstance as well as the wind of opportunity. But here's how you take advantage of it. Look inside yourself. And what's so exciting now about the Herbalife opportunity is to have plenty of examples around you of people that started right where they were, decided to make the personal changes themselves, and let the Herbalife opportunity become something valuable for them. These testimonials of the people in these first 2-3 rows gives valid evidence that if you'll take an opportunity like Herbalife, and if you'll start making those personal changes of discipline, personal changes of time management, personal changes of willingness to learn the skills, personal changes of personality improvement, attitude, all of the rest, with this opportunity, you cannot miss having an extraordinary life and an extraordinary future. And that is to learn the lesson of the seasons. Learn the lesson of the seasons. Key phrase to start with, life and business is like the changing seasons. Frank Sinatra sings, life is like the seasons. And now here's the second phrase. You cannot change the seasons. They are set. Winter follows fall. Spring follows winter. Summer, harvest. The seasons are set. You cannot change those. But here's what you can do. You can change yourself. You cannot change the circumstances, but you can change yourself. You cannot change the wind that blows, but you can set a better sail. You cannot change what happens, but you can change what you do about it. Whereas before you used to be bewildered by the changes, now you have more confidence. So we cannot change what's going on out there. It's like the wind that blows. But we can change ourselves by setting sail, working on our philosophy, working on our attitude, working on our disciplines. So you can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself. Learn how to handle the winters, the wintertime. We must all understand, and I'm sure our experience has taught us up until now, the winters always come. Right after harvest comes the winter. Some winters are long and some are short, but they always come. Now, it's not just the winter of the season, but it's the winter when things don't work well. It's the winter when it all turns dark. It's the winter when problems seem to pile up. Economic winters, social winters, personal winters, when your heart is smashed in 1,000 pieces and the nights seem unusually long. We call it wintertime. Whether it's economics, the winter of poor health, the winter when things don't go well, wintertime. Here's the best advice I can give you when the winter does come, whether it's a long one or whether it's a short one. The best advice I can give you is learn how to handle it. Hang in there. Stay steady. When the night comes that follows the day, you just stay steady in the night. Stay steady in the winter. 3 things that'll help you to stay steady in the winter. Become wiser and stronger and better. All of us can become wiser than we were yesterday, wiser than we were last week, wiser than we were a month ago. You're going to leave here wiser because you've been here to these few days, listening to the testimonials, listening to the training that goes on at this podium. You'll be wiser because you've met each other. And that wisdom is going to help you when a tough time comes. That wisdom is going to help you when the winter sets in. When things don't seem to go well, you'll draw from this experience here. One of the reasons why I wanted to be here is not just to share my experiences with all of you, to see if it might create some value for you to take home. But I'm going to remember this occasion as I leave here, as I go back to America, as I go off to other countries. I'm going to remember this trip to Taiwan. I'm going to remember this occasion. I'm going to remember these lights. I'm going to remember myself on the big screen. I'm going to remember the occasion I had to come and meet my friends one more time. And I'm going to carry this experience away with me. It's going to serve me well as I get on an airplane and go to the next country and the next country and the next country. I want you to draw this kind of wisdom from what's going on here these few days, so that this occasion will serve you when you're out there sort of by yourself and you're all alone telling the story and you don't have this many people to support you out there. You will remember this occasion, and you'll remember what you heard, and you'll remember what you saw, and you'll remember how you felt, and it will sustain you through some of those difficult times when seemingly you're all alone. You'll remember, I'm not alone. Look how many people have been attracted at this level to the Herbalife opportunity. So I want you to know this kind of wisdom that you're gathering here will sustain you. Next, in the winter, become stronger. Stronger physically, stronger morally, stronger spiritually. All of us can gather muscle, not just the muscle of our physical body, but the muscle of your mind that helps you through the tough times, the muscle of your spirit that sustains you when things seem to be going wrong, not in your favor. So become wiser, become stronger, and here's the third one. In the winter, become better. All of us can get better. Our skills can get better. What we've learned can serve us more to where we get better and better at telling the story, better and better at sharing the opportunity, better and better at expressing ourselves. I had those challenges when I started, like everybody does. My first meeting I stood up to talk, and my mind sat back down. I remember those occasions. But I did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again, and here I am on this June day in Taipei, one more time doing it again. I'm getting better. So hang in there during the winter time. The challenges always come. The dark time always comes. Winter always follows the harvest. But the winters of the future, for you, can be a lot different than the winters of the past. If you'll hang on to what you've learned here, hang on to the spirit of the testimonials, hang on to the people that you've heard give their testimonials here and give the training here from this podium. Hang on to that, so that when you're out there and a dark time comes, a dark night comes, and a tough winter comes, you'll be able to survive. You'll not only be able to survive, you'll be able to flourish. So that's number one. Learn how to handle the winters. Learn to take advantage of the spring. Spring is called opportunity. But here's what's exciting about spring. It follows the winter. And pray tell, how often does spring follow winter? And the good word is every time. For the last 6,000 years that we know of, called recorded history, spring has always followed winter. Yes, the night comes, but day follows night. Yes, difficulty comes, but opportunity follows difficulty. Expansion follows recession. Joy has a good chance of following sadness. It's the rhythm of life. It's 6,000 years of written history that proves that the winter doesn't last forever. The night does not last forever. The difficult time does not last forever, whether it's a political winter or a social winter or an economic winter. Spring always comes. But here's what you must learn to do. Underline the two words, take advantage. Just because spring comes is no sign you're going to look good in the harvest. You must take advantage of it. The opportunity for Herbalife story to affect your life has come. This could be the spring of a lifetime for you. But here's what you must do. Take advantage of it. Don't let this opportunity slip through your fingers. Springtime now is not very long. In space language, we call it the window of opportunity. When they get ready to shoot the rockets off into space, there's a certain period of time where it's time to go. If they don't go when it's time to go, they have to wait for another cycle of time to pass before it's time to go again. Spring doesn't last all summer. Spring doesn't last all year. It's usually a brief period of time. So make this note. Learn to recognize the spring, and then learn to recognize the urgency of taking advantage of the spring. You meet someone on the street and have a chance to talk. It's called springtime. The window's open. How long is it going to stay open? Maybe not very long. To hand someone a brochure, to speak someone and give an invitation. The window opens, but it soon closes. So here's what you must learn to do. Take advantage of the brief time called spring. Also, you must get busy on all of your springs. There's just a handful of springs that's been given to each of us. I just lost my father a few weeks ago. He lived to be age 93. But it seemed as though his life still was short, even with 93 years. I wanted a few more years, but I guess if you had 200 years to live, you would want a couple of more. We always wish for those extra years, but 93 years for my father seemed like a very brief time. And life is fairly brief, short. We've just got a few springs. Sometimes people make the remark, I've got 20 more years. And here's the real truth about it. No, you've got 20 more springs. 20 more chances at a springtime. So here's what you must do. Take advantage of every one. Don't let the opportunity slip through your finger. The opportunity to speak to someone. The opportunity to conduct a meeting. I don't know how many more occasions I have to attend an extravaganza. I don't know how many more. Tokyo is coming up. Australia is coming up. We've had Caracas. We had Las Vegas. You know, a few more this year. Then next year. How many more years? We don't know. Here's what I'm anxious to do. Take advantage of every one. Every chance I have a chance to speak, I'm going to speak. Every chance I have to meet with Mark somewhere around the world and tell my story one more time of this extraordinary young man, the extraordinary opportunity called Herbalife, my position in it, how I feel about it, I'm going to do that to the very best of my ability. Because no telling how many more of these opportunities we have. Here's what I urge you to do. Take advantage of every one. Don't miss the chance. At the longest, life is brief. So take advantage of every meeting. Take advantage of every opportunity to talk to someone. Take advantage of every chance to express yourself and give someone a chance to join the Herbalife opportunity. Take advantage of every opportunity to be with your family. Every opportunity to be with a friend. Learn to value life in all of its precious moments. We call these moments of opportunity. The moments don't last forever. My presentation is not going to last forever. This day is not going to last for the next 6 months. It's only going to last for a little while. But the little while that comes, put your heart into it. Lean into it. Like you're doing today, take notes. Lean forward. Get everything you can while the opportunity is here, because the window opens and then it closes. The meeting opens and then it's over. The day starts and then it concludes. So every time the sun comes up, take advantage of that day. Every time somebody presents themselves, take advantage of that opportunity. Every time you have a chance to do like I'm doing here today, to tell your story, do it and tell your story well. Put your heart and soul into it, because life is brief at the longest. In contemplating the seasons, the third season is the season of summer. And the season of summer is an interesting season. Two things are important in the season of summer. Number one, and that is to give life to your values. If you've planted a garden, now you've got to give it nourishment. Give life to your values. Once you've got an Herbalife customer, now you've got to give them life by giving them your attention. Make this note: no greater gift than the gift of attention. Giving someone not just your time, but your attention. Giving someone your information. Giving someone your inspiration. Like a mother that gives life to a baby. Now she nourishes it. Now she feeds it. Now she takes care of it. If you've been so fortunate as to have now an Herbalife organization, I'm asking you to breathe life into it like a mother. Nourish it and feed it like a mother. The summer time is a time to give nourishment to something you've started. Don't leave it to wilt in the sun. Don't leave it to be discarded by time. Give it your life. Give it your heart. Give it your soul. There's one thing I can say about Mark Hughes since the first day I met him all those years ago. Mark puts everything he's got into everything he does. And I'd like to have you make that note and see if we can't follow. Put everything you've got into everything you do. That's called life. That's called mothering. That's called giving it life like a mother. Now here's what else you must do in the summer. You must guard against the enemies like a father. As soon as you've planted a garden, it's going to be invaded. The busy bugs and the noxious weeds are out to take your garden. So not only must you give life to the plants, not only must you give life to the fruit trees, you must now guard your fruit. You must guard your garden from the enemies that are going to try to move in and take over. So here's what you must do. Nourish your values like a mother and fight your enemies like a father. And there's all kinds of enemies. There's the outside enemies politically. We've had to war with our enemies against democracy, the enemies against freedom. We've had to fight all these wars. The war's been going on for the last 6,000 years of recorded history. Thankfully now we're winning the war of democracy. We're winning the war of freedom. The walls did come tumbling down a few years ago, and now freedom rings. You can walk the streets of old Prague and talk politics and not be afraid of being thrown into jail. Opportunity has come. There's a fresh breeze of opportunity and freedom blowing around the world. And wherever it goes, Herbalife will follow and teach people how to take advantage of free enterprise, capitalism. But I want you to make this note. The enemies are not far away. Yes, when the light comes, it's wonderful. But the darkness is not that far away. The enemies of freedom are not that far away. And the enemies of your life are not that far away. Here's what I'm asking you to do. Stand guard. Stand guard over your distributors. Stand guard over your customers. Stand guard over your family. And stand guard over yourself. Stand guard at the door of your mind. When those things that would come and tempt you to be distracted, stand guard. We've all got to fight the fight. We must give nourishment, yes, like a mother, but we must also fight the war like a father. So I'm asking you to be strong in fighting the enemies. Now, it's not only the enemies that are on the outside, it's the enemies that are on the inside. Let me give you a quick list of some of the enemies to be on the lookout for in the season of summer. Number one is indifference. Indifference. The ho-hum attitude. Letting it slide, letting it go. I don't think we have to talk much about that in Taiwan. When I was here 21 years ago, 20 years ago, I made reference to this when I left and went back to America. Here's what I said when I went back to America. When I was in Taipei, those 2 years that I was here, here's what I told my American friends. I never saw an idle person. When I visited this country those 2 years, I never saw an idle person. Everybody I saw was busy. Everybody was doing something. That's why you've built such a fabulous country and such a fabulous city, and it's to your credit. And all of us here applaud you for that. I've got a good phrase for you to jot down. You cannot drift to the top of the mountain. If you want to see the view from the top, you have to climb. You have to climb steady. You have to climb true. You have to climb consistently. You cannot drift. You cannot say, ho-hum, oh, maybe it'll work out. I've got my fingers crossed. That is not a good policy. It is not a good philosophy. If you want values, you've got to work for them. If you want to see the view from the top, you've got to steadily climb. So I'm asking you to fight indifference. Don't let it be part of you. Resist it with all of your ability. Next is indecision. Indecision is the thief of opportunity. You've got to decide. Yes, some things, some decisions take longer than others, but don't take any longer than you need to make a decision. Give it a try. Sometimes you never know till you give it a try. Don't wait and eat up the time and let indecision be the thief of opportunity to do something well, do something right, touch someone else's life. Here's the next one, doubt. We all have a certain amount of doubts. Nobody can be 100% certain. But here's what you must learn to do. Doubt your doubts and believe your beliefs. I used to be mixed up on that all those years ago. I used to believe my doubts and doubt my beliefs. And what a sad position that's to be in. Learn to doubt your doubts and believe your beliefs. It's easy to doubt the future with uncertainty. It's easy to doubt the past will serve you. It's easy to doubt the community. It's easy to doubt the country, doubt the government, doubt the banks, and doubt the money. It's easy to doubt each other. And here's the worst one of all. It's easy to doubt yourself. Doubt that you can learn, doubt that you can grow, doubt that you can change. But I'm asking you to turn that around. Drive your doubts into a small corner. Don't let them conquer you. Believe in each other. Believe in your country. Believe in Herbalife and its opportunity for the future. Believe in the community. Believe in the rest of the world and their ability to struggle with the problems and come up with the answers. Believe that things are possible. And here's the most important one. Believe in yourself. And here's the last season, the season of harvest. There's an interesting phrase from an ancient prophet, and it says, "In due season, your harvest will come." First, harvest cannot come unless you're due. Harvest does not come to those who did not plant all those months ago called the spring. Harvest does not come to those that hope. Harvest does not come to those that wish. Harvest does not come to those who have their fingers crossed. Harvest only comes to those for which it is due. Harvest only comes to those that have planted, that did the job, that told the story, that gave the invitations, that conducted the meeting. You've got to make the expenditure up front. But if you make the expenditure up front, before the harvest is there, you must see the harvest in your mind. You must anticipate the harvest because others have already received a harvest. It gives you hope. But we plant in the dark. We plant not knowing for sure. But if you'll take the risk and talk, if you'll take the risk and go, if you'll take the risk and serve, if you'll take the risk and give an opportunity to someone, if you'll take a risk and get on an airplane, if you'll take a risk and go see the people, if you'll take a risk and conduct a meeting, I promise you, as time unfolds, your harvest will come. If you put your heart and soul into it, your harvest will come. I want that to happen for you. The lesson of the seasons. One is to hang in there when the nights are long. Hang in there when the winters are tough. Hang in there when the reverses come. Hang in there if you happen to get ill for a while. Hang in there when discouraging times come. Number two, take advantage of the spring, the people you meet. Take advantage of a chance to conduct a meeting. Take advantage of a chance to make a phone call. Take advantage of a chance to write a letter. Take advantage of a chance to hand somebody the Herbalife opportunity and see what kind of miracle might come from that. Take advantage. And number three, in the summer, give life like a mother. Fight enemies like a father. Look over your organization like a shepherd would look over the flock, the sheep. Take care of it as a leader should, but also fight the enemies for people that cannot fight for themselves. You've got to look after a little baby that first cannot look after itself. You've got to have vision for a child in looking into the future when the child has no vision of his own. Here's the key phrase in Herbalife. Let your distributors borrow your eyes to see into the future. Things they cannot at first see. Let them borrow your vision. That's what we constantly do with Mark. Mark looks out into the future. I remember when Mark said, we're going to do 400 million. I said, Mark, are you going to say it publicly? He said, yes. I said, Mark, are you going to ask me to say it? Yes, he said, I'm going to ask you to say it publicly. We're going to get to 400 million. I said, Mark, I'm not sure I can see it. He said, "Borrow my eyes." And just like a mother and a father who lend their vision to their children who cannot see it at first, I'm asking you to be such a mother and such a father to your own organization to help them see things they cannot at first see. Because in due season, plenty of testimonials here, plenty of proof positive that you can start all those years ago and put yourself through the paces, make the sacrifices, and see the people, and the harvest finally comes. Not only the harvest of money, but the harvest of good health, the harvest of heart and soul, the harvest of taking a lot of good people with you as you make the Herbalife journey. Your harvest will come. Be thankful for what you've already got. Every time I see these films of Mark Hughes, I just say to myself, how could one person have such good fortune like me to have come along at the right time, at the right place, and to be given the invitation that Mark gave me? He said, if you'll come with me, we'll travel the world and see how many people we can reach. That invitation all those years ago literally changed my whole life. And I'm grateful for that. I can't imagine the last 26 years doing something else other than Herbalife. Mark opened the doors for me to travel the world and tell his story, tell the Herbalife story. Unbelievable. I'll be grateful the rest of my life. So let's start with gratitude. Let's start with thanksgiving for what we already have. Make the note. Thanksgiving opens the doors and the channels to receive more than you have. If you'll be thankful for what you've got, here's what closes the doors to opportunity and ideas and inspiration. Cynicism. For cynics, the channels are closed. For those who are thankful, the channels are open. And I sense a great spirit of thanksgiving and gratitude in this extravaganza these few days. Somebody once said, there's nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come. In 1980, the time was right. And Mark put together this idea called Herbalife. But here's another way to say it. There's nothing so powerful as an idea that comes at the right time. For some of you, I promise you, this is the right time for you. I don't know what all the preparations you've made and what's happened in your life, both personal and social and Herbalife before you got here. But this is a good time, ideas that come at a good time. Now underline the word inspiration. Ideas by themselves affect no one, but ideas loaded with inspiration, loaded with the emotion of caring, loaded with ambitious motives to reach as many people as possible and help change at least your part of the world. That's what's powerful. Always be eager to learn. No matter how old you get. 75, I've got a lot more years of learning. The big part of my learning now, the rest of my life, is how to balance my life, right? Enough of this and not too much of this. I'm into energy management now as well as time management. I've told the Italians I can't stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning anymore. 1 or 2 o'clock maybe, but you know, not 2 or 3. Give me that extra hour, please, to go home and rest. Time and energy management. Don't burn up most of your energy on little things that don't count that much. Save it up for the times when it really is necessary and where it really counts. And no matter how much you've learned so far, there's more to learn. We in the Millionaires Club, every once in a while, invite a billionaire to come talk to us. Right? The millionaires have to listen to the billionaires who say, well, you're doing okay, but, you know, come on. There's more to go. Next, don't hesitate to debate everything. We're not asking for just servants to follow. We're asking for students to learn. Every idea presented from this stage has to be refined to fit you, your personality, where you are at the moment, what you want to do with Herbalife. Someone says, I want to build just a little neighborhood business and have enough income to take care of my family. That's it for me. Someone else says, I'd like to conquer the world. So whatever is presented here, make sure you turn it over in your mind and figure out how to apply it to your situation and what you want to accomplish. Don't let anybody give you orders. We're not here to say you should, you should. All we're here to do is to say it's possible, it's possible, it's possible. Now the most extraordinary testimonials over the last 26 years say the most unbelievable things are possible. In Herbalife's marketing system, here's the first challenge: how to go from $0 to $1,000 a month part-time. And all you have to do is study the plan, figure it out for the available time you've got to spend. I started my health and nutrition career as a distributor 15 hours a week. And in giving 15 hours a week, I invested $200 in products for myself, my family, and a few products to sell. 1955. I signed my application, got started, but just a small investment of $200, which I had to borrow, and 15 hours a week, within less than a year, my part-time income exceeded my full-time income. Somebody gave me the strategy of how to use the marketing system and the product story to my benefit. There were others at the same time who invested maybe the same time, but they didn't have the same results. So keep studying the results of those who are doing extremely well that have got the same time you've got. Here's the next project: how to go from from 1,000 a month to 10,000. Become President's team. Some are spending the same time, the same hours, but instead of going to 2,000 a month, they go to 10,000. You got to be a student of that. How can this marketing system yield me the greatest results for the time and the money and the energy that I'm going to invest? Next project: how to go from 10,000 a month to 100,000 a month. Now, why do we talk? In the beginning, it was a little reckless to talk about going from 10,000 a month to 100,000 a month. Remember in the beginning, Mark said, you can lose weight on this product. Somebody said, well, who's losing weight? Mark said, you get to be the first one. You can really make all kinds of money with this project. And I said, Mark, who's making money? He said, you get to be the first one. Those were the early days. But now, the testimonies now are out of sight of those who learned with the same 24 hours a day how to go from 1,000 a month to 10,000 a month. The next project: how to go from 10,000 to 100,000. Don't let yourself be left behind because you've got the same time and the same products, the same support system, the same literature, the same sales aids. Make sure that the construct of your time and energy is put out in a manner that yields you the greatest results. And remember Zig Ziglar's formula for success: if you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. 48 years ago, when I first heard Zig say that, I underlined the word everything, and I went for it. And Herbalife gave me away. When I first got started as a health and nutrition distributor, everybody I could reach, everybody I could touch. You've heard me talk about how to recruit the waitress when she brings you your coffee. I see this guy underneath the car changing oil. How long have you been doing this? He said, 7 years. I said, are you going to go for another 7? He says, I hope not. I said, I have an idea for you to consider. You won't have to lay underneath these cars anymore, changing the oil. What's the deal? Come to a meeting. I learned how to do that with such incredible enthusiasm. Since I first heard of health and nutrition and the idea of personal development, nobody has ever said to me in the last 55 years, when are you going to get going? I've never heard that. All I've heard all these years is, when are you going to slow down? When are you going to retire? When are you going to take it easy? Nobody's ever said to me, when are you going to get off the couch? When are you going to turn off the television? When are you going to get going? I've never heard that the rest of my life. Once the lights went on for me, they've never gone out. They've never gone out. Act on what you've learned and what you've got. Put these notes into action. It's action that turns ideas into reality. It's action that builds the city. It's the 6 days of labor. Yes, we now must rest one after 6 of labor. But don't get those numbers mixed up. 6 of rest, 1 of labor. It's not rest that builds the city. It's not rest that builds the fortune. Yes, we must rest. But make this note, this is for leaders, potential leaders. Only rest long enough to gather strength, no more. The same is for food, only enough food to gather strength, no more. Because the purpose of an object is not to eat, the purpose of an object is not to sleep, the purpose of an object is not to rest, the purpose is to build the city, build the university, build a career, build your good health, build an organization, build for the future. And from Michael Johnson on down to all of us, this is the whole key. Employ those 6 days out of 7 and see if you can't, with your own voice and with your own hands, build something that'll last for a lifetime for yourself and for your family and for your future. And pass it on to the next generation. But all of you made your contribution. Part of it was your effort to get here. No effort like that is going to go unrewarded. The unseen hand that creates and spins and weaves everybody's life recognizes every effort. It says, if you sow, you shall reap. If you do good, you shall receive. If you touch people's lives, you will be rewarded. It's not only the Herbalife formula, that's the life formula. And all of you engaged in that to get here. Now, when you got here, you helped to create this incredible drama. And it was done by you. I never made one phone call to get somebody to come to this extravaganza. All of you picked up the phone. All of you wrote the letters. All of you sent the emails. All of you made the effort to create this incredible drama of people that are here today. Now, while we're here, treasures of ideas, treasures of inspiration, testimonials that have been unbelievable. People who started with so little, and what they have turned from the Herbalife experience into so much, the drama has been incredible. So here's what happens now when you leave here today. Jot it down. You leave here rich. You might have arrived, having spent the last dollar. You might have arrived having become almost exhausted by the effort to get here. I flew all night, 10.5 hours, whatever it is. Go through customs, immigration, passport control, all the rest. So it's a collective effort now made it possible for this drama to occur. But now that it is occurring, now that it has occurred, it's created wealth that you cannot even imagine. One idea could transform your life and future and help you go from $10,000 a month to $100,000 a month income. And it's not just the money, it's all of the rest of the drama of your life. So when you walk out of here today, you walked in just by yourself, making your contribution to this drama, but you walk away with the wealth of the extravaganza in your possession. The wealth of a handshake. When you shake somebody's hand, it's not just the act of shaking hands that says hello. There's like a transfer of power. When I shake your hand, you give your power to me, I give my power to you. I remember playing basketball when I was in school. And before we went on the court to play the basketball game, the team of 10 or 12 of us got together. Guess what we did before we went on the court, John? We all placed our hands. Hands on top of hands, on top of hands, on top of hands. It's what the dancers did before they came on today. They all got together in a huddle. They all put their hands on top of hands, on top of hands. Said, let's go. Wow, let's go. The time and money that you spent to be part of this extravaganza, and the time is more valuable than the money. You can get more money, but you can't get more time. These days that you've spent here as an investment in extravaganza, days you can never get back. Days that are taken away from the sum total of however many days you're going to have for your life on this spinning planet headed somewhere. So what an investment for all of us. The time, the money, the arrangements, sacrifice of family, but a worthwhile investment. But you cannot have any return and any reward unless you make the investment. When one person talks to another, there's a unique thing called transformation takes place. The transformation of the person who listens to good words that give them ideas to refine their philosophy, to change their mind, to change their thinking from negative to positive, from doubt to faith, from fear to confidence. All of that is the magic of words. So imagine all of the light that's been turned on during these days of extravaganza. And we've all been beneficiaries. For some of you, it's going to be so transforming. In the years to come, you'll say, the extravaganza in Bangkok, Thailand, 2006 was one of the days that turned my life around. Look what's happened to me, look what's happened to my family, look what's happened to my fortune. That was a special time. So the transformation of the people who hear. Here's the next part of the magic. The transformation of the people who speak. If I struggle to make it clear for you, I make it more clear for myself. If I work hard to help you to see, that helps me to see. Maybe something I never saw before. Sometimes we use language that surprises us. A phrase appears in our head, an idea, a way to say it that we've never said it before. That's the inspiration of sight that comes from helping other people to see, transforms us so that we can see. And transformation is part of the unique life process. The caterpillar that crawls on the ground for a share of his life, one day says, surely I was designed for something better than just crawling on the ground. So one day, driven by instinct and the genetic code, he climbs the tree, out on the limb, finds the right leaf, attaches himself to the leaf, and with great effort spins the cocoon. And when the cocoon is finished, and the time has finally come, with great effort, this creature that crawled on the ground for a part of his life now breaks open the cocoon, and with great effort struggles to set himself free. And once he's free, he now has wings. And when the wings are dry and the time has come, this creature that used to crawl on the ground now says, I think I can fly. I think I can touch the sky. Because, you know, information can change your life. What you don't know will hurt you. What you don't know will leave you without an idea that could change your life. What you don't know will harm your health. What you don't know, will jeopardize your financial security. So it's important to know. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is poverty. Ignorance is tragedy. Ignorance is the most compounded difficulty. But if you know, and especially if you're privy to the truth, as the old prophet said, the truth will set you free. The truth gives you freedom to make decisions. The truth helps you to, decide a course of life and follow it and see if you can't make the best of it. And I just want to make my contribution one more time to share some ideas I think that might be helpful. And if you've got your paper ready and your pen, your pencil ready to take some notes, you might want to take some notes on some of these ideas to make this a good year for you. Remember, the viable difference in your Herbalife career is not the products, because they're the same. The difference for you in Herbalife is not the marketing, because it's the same for everybody. The difference in Herbalife is not the support system, because it's the same. Mark Hughes is the same for all of us. The difference is not time, because time is the same, 24 hours a day. But the variable in how your life works out, the kind of money you earn, the kind of life you experience, the effect you have on other people, the influence you have on other people, that variable, of course, is you. Key phrase to remember: the major key to your better future is you. The major key is not the company. The major key is not the country. The major key is not the political system you might live under. But the major key to your better future is you. It's you and what happens to you. What you learn from what happens, what you do about what happens, the plan you've got for the future, you are the variable. And when I found out I could make a major difference in my own future, I met a great teacher when I was 25 years old. And of course I had all the excuses at the time. I'd been working 6 years as to why I was not doing well. I blamed the government, I blamed circumstances, I blamed taxes, prices are too high, things cost too much. I had the usual list. Didn't have the opportunity, didn't have the breaks, didn't happen for me like it happened for someone else. All those usual excuses. Then I found out from my very wise teacher that the major key to my future was not going to be changing all the things I thought needed to be changed, like the tax structure and the government structure and the price structure and circumstances. That all I had to do was to take all of that inevitably happens to all of us and make personal changes. That I could become the power. I could become the major factor in my future. And when I found out that that was possible, it was hard for me to sleep that first year. I got so excited that I finally discovered I could make a major change in my own life, and that I could be the major factor in my destiny, my fortune, my future, my income, and all the rest. If you blame the government and you say, well, it's got to change before I can change, then that may be impossible. If you blame the economy, it's got to change before I can change, then who knows how long that'll take. And when I finally gave up that list of blaming all these other factors and said, hey, it's me, then I got very excited, because me was something I could do something about. I couldn't do anything about the economy. How could I change the banking structure? How could I change circumstances that are inevitable for all of us? Couldn't do that. So if you wait for all of that to change, then some people wait forever and their life doesn't change very much. But if you understand that you are the major factor and there's something you can do about yourself, you can change your goals, you can change vocation, you can change location. You're not a tree, you're not stuck, you're not an animal driven by instinct in the genetic code. You have the ability to think, ponder, reason, gather ideas and make major changes in your own personal life. And when I found out that, it was hard to sleep that first year. I got so excited about accepting that responsibility for personal change. 5 sources of inspiration. Here's the first one: deciding. If you just make a decision, it can be sometimes the day that starts you on a brand new journey. Now, some decisions are incidental and some are small, and some, you know, are part of a working day. But sometimes decision-making can be one of the most important days of your life. Maybe a decision you've postponed, and now you understand the penalty of postponing that decision. You've got to do something, and finally you come to the conclusion, today is the day. I now decide. And whether you decide on a new direction, whether you decide on a refinement in philosophy, whether you decide to act when before you haven't acted, you decide on a series of things that you're going to do, you decide. Deciding can be such an incredibly important, very exciting, inspirational day. Also, deciding sometimes starts the process of lifting our self-esteem. Sometimes when you look back on it, the day that you decided was just about as exciting as the day when you finally accomplished the project. That when you finally made the decision, you finally got the monkey off your back, as we say in English. You finally, got through whatever barriers kept you from making that decision, and finally you made a decision. And now it seems like the sky is blue and the air is clear and your mind is ready, and the adrenaline starts to flow, things start to happen to you from that moment of decision. So that can be an incredible source of inspiration. Now, if you don't follow through, it's not going to last all that long. If you decide and then, postpone and you decide, but you still don't get to it for a week or a month or a year, soon all that energy and that source of inspiration is all dissipated. So deciding is inspiring, but not for that long. But once you decide, it can be a very powerful day. But now, of course, now you must follow through. But if there's some things you've been postponing, some decisions you have just, hadn't gotten to, I would ask you to just, take out your journal and just go through, what have I been postponing that's not going to be better for my health? It's not going to be better for my future. It's not going to enhance my finances. Maybe a problem needs to be solved. I got to decide when I'm going to do it and how I'm going to proceed. I need to get to it. I promise you, if you'll go through some of that list and start making those decisions, your inspiration will start to flow, and those could be very critically important, exciting days. Indecision is the thief of opportunity. Indecision means the door is still closed. Indecision means the opportunity waits. Indecision means what could be is postponed or may never be. Those are all the penalties of indecision. And sometimes we can't make a snap judgment. We can't decide immediately on something so important. But after a while, we must understand sometimes the heavy penalty of putting off our decision making. So, one source of inspiration, deciding. Here's the next one. Planning. Now that you've decided and you start making plans, it's incredible what can happen as a source of inspiration. When finally what's in your head, what's in your imagination, now finally starts to take shape on paper. When I first heard about network marketing, I was 25 years old. And I heard some of the testimonials, and I heard that people have gotten rich, and I've heard that it's changed people's lives. And I've heard that you could start with nothing and become something. But let me tell you what was exciting. When I finally made the decision, yes, I was going to be part of the industry, yes, I was going to make it part of my marketing future, what was really exciting was when I sat down and started making plans. I started committing imagination and belief to paper. I started writing it down. I started, as we often do, drawing those circles. What if I had 5? What if I had 10? And then when I had a concept of what that could bring for me, then I said, how can I reach the first 5? How can I reach the first 10? What could I do? Starting to make those plans, I'm telling you, I remember those days as if they were yesterday. They were so exciting. I had a concept of what I wanted. I had a dream of what could happen for me. If it could happen for others, maybe it could happen for me. But when I started putting it on paper and started making the plans, that was an incredible source of inspiration for me. Because the plans seemed to now start making it real. That what I had thought about, what I dreamed about, now I'm actually getting to it by making a plan. However, you can make all the plans in the world, and it is a source of inspiration for only so long. And you can make one plan, and then you can make another plan. And you can make some plans today, and the next day you can make some more plans, and the next day you can make some more plans. And it is a very exciting source of inspiration, but only for a while. I'm sure we would all agree that making plans, that inspiration wouldn't last for a week. Now, that inspiration now must drive you to do number 3. The first source of inspiration is deciding. Second source of inspiration is planning. And now, here's a big source of inspiration, beginning. Getting started. Actually turning thought and the notes on the paper, the plans, actually now committing it to action, getting started. And beginning can be an incredible source of inspiration. Guess what you can say when you begin a change in your diet? When you begin to take the Herbalife products, guess what you can say? I'm on a new track. I have carved out for myself a new beginning. I'm on my way to the most incredible health. I will never be the same again. I'm leaving the old, undisciplined part of me. I'm leaving that behind. I'm a new person. I'm taking my first shake. I'm swallowing the first tablets. I made my first, walk around the block that I'd thought about for so long and never did. I finally did it today. I've started. I have begun. That is an incredible source of inspiration. And that is to start, to begin. You cannot believe what can happen to your self-esteem. And many of you have already experienced it. I'm just asking you to begin something new in all the areas of your life. Maybe you've always thought about benevolence, and you just haven't gotten started, or you haven't made the plans, or you haven't made the decision. I'm asking you to start taking that stuff now that's in your head, that imagination, which is very powerful, and it's a great source of inspiration in itself. But then I'm asking you then to decide, use that inspiration. Then I'm asking you to make plans, begin to make plans, use that inspiration. And then if you take that first step, it can be the first step of an incredible journey. And when Mark had his first meeting, when Mark recruited his first distributor, when Mark got his first customer, his grandmother using the product, when Mark got that first few yeses from people, and he started the process, as simple as it was, from the trunk of his car, as crude as the literature was in the beginning, it was a start. And so beginning can be an incredible source of inspiration. And beginning can be many things. Beginning a new commitment to learning. You say, I'm going to have a library second to none, and I bought the first book of my new library today. I'm going to be surrounded by information and inspiration. The cassette tapes and the videos and the books. I'm going to have a library second to none. I've thought about it. Wouldn't it be wonderful? And, I've started making plans. I've provided some space in my room for my expanded library. But here's what's exciting. I got the first book today. I've gotten started. This is just the first of many, many books. This is the first of a whole flow of information for me. This is the first time. You want to learn a new skill and you sign up for a class. Let's say you want to learn accounting or something, and you sign up for the class and you take the first class. You get started. You'd thought about it. You made some plans for it. You made some time for it. But there's nothing like sitting there in the class with the pen in your hand and the pad ready to take notes. Here I am. I'm starting on a new journey of learning. Remember that. Beginning is a fantastic source of inspiration. Planning is an incredible source of inspiration. Deciding is an unbelievable source of inspiration. But now beginning only lasts so long. If you begin that first week and then you don't continue, yes, you'll be inspired by deciding and planning and beginning. But all of that now will start to fade away if you don't do number 4. One of the great sources of inspiration is progressing. Once you've gotten started, now you proceed, you progress. Now you go to class the second week, you go to class the third week. But it's not only progressing in terms of time, it's progressing in terms of what you're learning, progressing in terms of getting the information that you hadn't discovered before. Now you're excited about that. Progress. One of the greatest sources of inspiration is progress. When you start jogging around the block, and you know, at first it's a little difficult, and then it's 2 blocks, and then you go around 4 or 5 times. But then you notice you're breathing easier. You notice when you go up a flight of stairs, you're not out of breath. And it suddenly occurs to you, in a fairly short period of time, you're making progress. With these incredible Herbalife products, when people first start taking the products, and they've got some health challenges, and they discipline themselves. They do it the first day, and the second day, and the first week, and the second week. But it isn't long. If they need to lose some weight, you know, a pound or 2, 4 or 5 pounds starts to disappear. That is so incredibly exciting. You don't have to wait for 50 pounds. You don't have to wait for 100 pounds. You know, that first one, that first 2 or 3, making progress. Having more oxygen in your lungs. You can tell within a short period of time, I'm making progress on my oxygen supply. I'm making progress on losing weight. Then when you start making progress in your business, your ability to make contacts, your ability to talk to people. Being so shy, you decided one day, hey, I've had enough with being too shy. I've made the decision. I'm making some plans. I'm going to begin talking to people. And you start, and at first it's difficult. But then very quickly, and it doesn't take a year, I'm telling you, it doesn't take a month, it doesn't take a week. I promise you, even though you're a little bit shy, if you'll just start to introduce yourself, if you'll just start to talk to someone you've never talked to before, just get started. I promise you, in a fairly short period of time, because 2 things are happening. One is deciding to overcome a liability, but also understanding that with this new skill now, with this new ability, and with my progress, no telling what I can accomplish. Because if I can get over the fear of talking to 1, I can get over the fear of talking to number 10, number 50, number 100. And by the time I get to number 50 and number 100, my self-confidence is going to be so strong, my self-esteem is going to be so high, my new skill is going to show such incredible progress that I will never look back on the old ways. So, what an incredible source of inspiration, progressing. I jotted this down. Unhappiness is simply the lack of progress toward a preset goal. If you're not making progress, see, that's when unhappiness sets in. But here's where happiness begins. Making progressive progress. You don't have to arrive all at once. You don't have to have it immediately. But as long as you're making progress, as long as progress is part of your experience now, it is a fantastic source of inspiration. Now here's the next one. Source of inspiration, and that is achieving. When you finally have arrived at that goal that you set, I want to have this much experience and be able to do this by 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 6 months from now. And finally, that 6 months passes, and there you are. Finally, the time passes, and you have it. Finally, the time passes, and the skill is now beginning to be polished, and it is so unique and effective. Achieving is an incredible source of inspiration. But here's what we notice. When you do achieve, whatever you set out in the beginning, where you decided and planned and you got started and you progressed, when you finally achieve, that achievement is not much more inspiration than when you decided. It's a different kind of inspiration. It's a different kind of feeling to having arrived. Knowing that you've got many other objectives to accomplish, many other places you want to go, things you want to do, the person you want to become. But at least I've got this one. You know, I've done this one. I remember way back when I wanted to do the training and I wanted to do teaching, I would like to do seminars, because I saw people that had such a magnificent effect on their audience. They used the language to such an unbelievable degree. I could tell that something was mixed from their heart and their soul and their mind and their vocabulary, and this mixture of stuff together presented to someone's ears to hear and a heart maybe to believe and a mind to understand, that the most incredible magic could occur. I thought to myself, if I could possibly do that, it would be the greatest feeling in the world. Later I've come to have one more goal, which I just probably won't ever attain, and that is to be a singer. To not only speak the poetry, to not only speak the language, but to sing it, accompanied by music. In my opinion, that's probably the most awesome impact you can have on any person or any group or any audience, is the ability to communicate a message or a poem or lyrics or what you feel or what you know, to communicate it by music and by song. To me, it is the most incredible impact that one human can have on another or have on an audience. But next to that is to be able to feel strong about some ideas and have the ability to put it into words, to put it into language, drive it by emotion, have it mixed with experience, you know, and all the stuff that goes on in your head and your heart and your soul, and deliver it to the best of your ability, even as I'm doing today, to an unseen audience. But since I can visualize the audience and where it goes from here and where it may go beyond where it reaches even at the moment, that inspires me to do my best to come up with ideas that will be meaningful and helpful. To me, this is the most incredible experience. You know, the song, I will never get there because, you know, I don't have that particular powerful talent. But next to it, I'm telling you, you can have next to that the most incredible effect on someone else. Without a doubt, you can stir someone's imagination. You can reach that achievement. You can be there. What you've wished for and what you've dreamed for, if you will draw from the source of deciding, that inspiration, and the inspiration of planning, the inspiration of beginning, and the inspiration of progressing, then you will know this incredible inspiration of achieving, of finally getting there, finally being the person, finally accomplishing the goal, finally walking in the new home, finally sitting in the brand new car, finally being able to write a check for $50,000 to some charity, finally being able, having arrived. And here's what's exciting about Herbalife. We get to practice all of these every day. All of this is working every day, simultaneously. And that simultaneous, because some of you right now are achieving and deciding. And perhaps you have achieved and decided the same day. Because what you have achieved, you have decided, I'm going to multiply it now by 2, by 3, by 5. So it's amazing how you can plan and decide, begin and decide on something else. You can be making progress in one area and deciding on starting another. All of this can happen, especially in our social and our business life combined with our spiritual life and herbal life. All of this can be happening at the same time. You know, it's so amazing to go to Salinas, California. Salinas is called the lettuce capital of the world. The soil is so rich, it's unbelievable. Not far from there is Castroville. And Castroville is called the artichoke capital of the world. And within a few miles of there is a place called Gilroy. And Gilroy is called the garlic capital of the world. They now have a garlic festival every year. Now over 300,000 people come from all over to Gilroy, California to get in on the garlic festival. Not far from there is a place called Watsonville. And Watsonville, California is known as the strawberry capital of the world. All within a very short, you can drive to all of these little towns within a very short period of time. It doesn't take half a day. And yet, these are the capitals of the world in terms of productivity. And the reason is because the soil is so unusual that in these areas you can grow 2-3 crops a year. Now, as you know, most of the world is restricted to, 1 crop a year, spring, summer, harvest, and then winter. But in this area, it's unbelievable when you drive through to see them harvesting in one field and planting in the field right next to it. Harvesting and planting. On the same day that they're harvesting, they're planting. It's just a phenomenal place. But that's true of Herbalife. You can harvest and plant the same day. You can achieve and decide in a single day. You can be making progress in one area and having achieved something in another area, all mixed in together, all happening simultaneously and at the same time. I wanted to call that to your attention so that you would appreciate it, and how our lives are so dramatically affected by the business we do, and our social life, and our religious life, and our life of the community, but especially the opportunity that Herbalife offers for all of this to be working simultaneously. Deciding, planning, beginning, progressing, achieving. Here's what's exciting about Herbalife. We get inspiration by inspiring others. This is a two-way, instantaneous experience. As we inspire, we become inspired. Now it's difficult to fathom it, with just our finite mind. But this thing called spirituality and human emotion is so unbelievable that two things can happen simultaneously at the same time. As we inspire, we become inspired. We are being taught by teaching. As we teach, we learn. Sometimes we learn what not to say because, it didn't go over very well. And we just make a mental note, I'm going to dispense with that. I thought it was a clever idea. It turned out that it really wasn't. But we learn, and we learn simultaneously as we teach. It's incredible. We are becoming wealthy ourselves by creating wealth. As we create wealth, we become wealthy. As we give it out, it comes to us. As we dispense it through our facilities of speech, language, spirit, emotion, eyes, handshake, contact, as we do that, from incredible sources, now it comes flowing into our life, and sometimes it flows simultaneously. We are becoming wealthy by creating wealth. You can't have a much more exciting experience than that. Next, I wrote down, we are changing by creating change. By helping others to change, we change ourselves. And sometimes we decide to make some changes the very same day we're trying to help someone to change for the better. We're trying to help them change their mind. We're trying to help them change their position. We're trying to help them change their plan, refine it so that it works better. And as we do that, we suddenly find ourselves changing. Now, making mental notes as we go. As I am now teaching, as I'm helping someone to change, by the way, I'm going to start making the changes. It is a powerful experience we can have with all of this happening simultaneously at the same time. Next, we progress by creating progress. we create progress for others. We get them to grow. And by helping them to grow, we grow. By helping them to succeed, we succeed. That's what happened to Mark Hughes. Immediately, he started helping people with their health. Immediately, he started helping people with their financial future. And as he helped them, his came to him. He didn't even have to concentrate on what he was getting. You know, he didn't have to zero in on, you know, how much was that for me today? He could forget that. All he had to do was invest in those early distributors, invest his time, invest his energy, invest his ideas, invest his emotion, and it just started coming. As he gave it, so he received it. As he multiplied it, so it was multiplied to him. That is the awesome experience. Not just of Herbalife, I understand this applies to all of our other social, personal, religious gifts and experiences. But it works so well in what we're doing in Herbalife. Next, we become happy by creating happiness. When we put a new pin on someone, and it creates this incredible joy for them that they finally arrived, they did the meetings, they did the classes, they did all the stuff, now they've arrived. We create this happiness for them by putting the pin on, giving them a hug and giving them our congratulations. We create happiness for them, but it simultaneously raises our level of happiness to an incredible degree. We learn to see by creating sight in others. If we can help them to see, we can see. We develop our vision by inspiring vision. We develop sight for someone. We develop a future for someone. And our future automatically then starts to develop and starts to grow and starts to expand as we develop vision for others. Sources of inspiration. I thought you would enjoy it. And we've called it Power Living. And let me just give you the list. You know, all of this I'm sure is familiar to you. Maybe I can show it to you in sort of a new way with a new concept. But here's my list. It's a list you can use in your training, passing it on to someone else. And here it is. The big D's. It works in every part of life, especially herbal life. It's hard for us not to talk herbal life when we talk life, spiritual life, social life, herbal life. You know, it's so much a part of us now. You know, it's so much a part of our whole selves and what's happening. But here's the list. The big D's. Number one is decision. And we've talked about that in this previous little discourse that I gave you. But decision making this is an awesome day. Deciding it will never be the old way again. Deciding to step from darkness to light. Deciding to step from inactivity to activity. Deciding to make the turn. Deciding to turn around. Deciding to live a new life. You cannot believe how much can open up to you the day you decide. Power living is decision making. Next is desire. Who knows the mystery of where this all comes from? Who knows why some people have unusual desire and some people it takes a while for it to cultivate? Here's what I do believe. The possibility for high desire that can create the most extraordinary life, I promise you, that resides in all of us. That resides in everybody. Sometimes it's been suppressed, sometimes brutally. Sometimes it's been denied because of circumstances. Sometimes because of influence, sometimes because of an extraordinarily bitter or difficult family situation. The desire never gets a chance. It never sees the light of day. But sure enough, it does reside. And the reason why Herbalife is so exciting is because we find these people whose desire has never seen the light of day. They've never had something to where their heart leaps that they can hope for. And we come along and find these people. Now, sometimes we find them and sometimes they find us, but however it happens, it is a unique opportunity for us to perhaps awaken desire in someone so that it flourishes and grows and serves as an incredible force And they were responsible because they made the decision, but we can take part of the credit because we found them. We opened the door, we opened the window, we handed them a piece of literature, we invited them to a meeting, we let the beginning words of our vocabulary start a process to where now they can have desire that can affect their lives forever. So the first D was decision, second was desire. Here's the third one that makes everything possible and turns imagination into reality, and it's called discipline. For some people, they see discipline as sort of an ugly word. You know, don't talk to me about discipline. But what you must understand is discipline is a most incredible creative force. Discipline builds a career. Discipline develops good health. Discipline forms the most incredible marriage. Discipline puts together a friendship that won't quit forever. Discipline develops skills that can be magnified, and touch the world. Discipline opens up music. You know, you can't have incredible music without discipline. In fact, we call them the disciplines. We call architecture and music, and we call playing an instrument. We call sculpturing. We call painting. We call writing, composing. We call those the disciplines. And the disciplines gives us the indication that, yes, it doesn't come except by discipline. But it also means that the discipline is the open door to the creative process to turn nothing into something and to turn imagination into reality. So here's what you must learn to do: appreciate the disciplines and welcome the disciplines. Here's a good question to ask. What other discipline could I begin that would open up a whole new expression in my life of turning imagination into reality? I had to learn the discipline of using my language to make a presentation. It took a while. I stumbled. I made mistakes. I couldn't get my thoughts organized. It would enter my mind and then it would go away. And I remember all of those strugglings to learn. My mother taught me a little piano. Here's the left hand. I got that pretty good. She says, now here's the right hand. No problem on those scales. Then she said, today we're going to do them both together. I thought, how can you do that? One hand was easy, another one was easy, but together, I'm looking at this hand, I'm looking at this hand, but finally I got them to work together. And I learned that extra discipline, and it worked for me. Now, she said, today we're going to read the music and play both hands. I thought, well, you couldn't do all that. So, but sure enough, I'm looking at the music, I'm looking at this hand, finally I got them all working together. Then she said, today we're going to watch the audience read the music and play both hands. I thought, well, now that is impossible. That's too many things to do at the same time. But guess what I found out? It didn't take long to where I could watch the audience read the music and play both hands. And a discipline then that became a joy. I play a little piano, mostly for my own amazement, not for the public. But anyway, it's exciting. Learning new disciplines that create joy, that create a painting, that create an orchestra, that create an herbal life. Mark had to put together his disciplines. And the disciplines that he had to bring together several elements: the products and the marketing and the people and the support system, and the rallies and the extravaganzas. All this stuff had to come together, incorporating other people's disciplines as well as his own, but in a disciplined way that creates an enterprise. Without discipline, there is no enterprise. Without discipline, there is no magnificent structure. Without discipline, there is no music. Without discipline, there is no health. Without discipline, there is no advantage. There is no future. So discipline is all when it comes to imagination, having something real, believing in it, and turning it into reality. Now let me give you the rest of these. Decision was first, desire was second, discipline was third. Here's number 4, development. The key to development is to be all that you can possibly be. I don't know what your talents are, I don't know what your skills are, but here's what I probably am right on, that you're behind on an accelerated effort toward your full development. I would suggest that. Now, for some of you, I know that's probably really not true. But even as I look at my own life, because, I'm tempted to procrastinate just like everybody else. I should have written 30 books by now. I've only written 4 or 5. I should have done a lot of things, but I haven't. I got distracted, and all of us, have these challenges. But what could I become? What could I become? I had one of my dearest friends. I've lost him. He died at age 53. One day, and he drank a little too much. David drank a little too much, but he did all kinds of things. He was a builder, and he was a dreamer, and he did a lot of things. But his drinking sort of kept him in a fog for like years and years. About 6 years ago, he was sitting at the yacht club, and he was in a fog, and suddenly it occurred to him, I wonder what I could have accomplished all these years if I hadn't have been in this sort of foggy state. And he said that did it. And the last 6 years before he died, he was free. And he accomplished some incredible things that last 6 years. Being all that you can be, and not let habits drag you down. Not let things, sidetrack you from the full development of what you have the capable of being. What all could your heart encompass if you really had the chance and you really had the disciplines and really got to it? What could you really become? What could you earn? How healthy could you really be? How many books could you write? How many poems could you write? My granddaughter, Natalie, is 11, and she writes these most incredible poems. Someday I'm going to publish them. And of course, her brother Nathaniel is a classic gifted artist, and I think I'll publish some of her poems and his illustrations and his artistry. They're 11 and 12. They have become so much in so few years. And now my mind is wondering, I wonder how far they can go. I wonder how much they can accomplish. So here's what I would ask of you. If you feel that you're a little bit stalled, wherever you are, in your progress, I'm asking you to correct that. I'm asking you to see if you can't possibly be on a more accelerated track toward your possibilities and your full development. Here's what life is all about. To become all that we can possibly be. The full development of all of your potential, that's number one. Number two is the wise use of all of your resources. That's what life is all about, full development. Here's the next word, direction. Key phrase, we go the direction we face. So make sure that your vision, make sure that that's clear, because that's where you're headed. What's most dominant in your vision, that's where you're going, whether you realize it or not. So sometimes we need to clear that up so that the direction becomes more clear, becomes more powerful in really taking us where we want to go. Good phrase we've all heard, 5 years from now you will arrive. The question is where? And you say, well, I haven't really cleared that up. I'm asking you to clear that up, because if you don't, you may arrive at a much less of a place. Not that it wouldn't be okay, but much less of a place than you could have arrived if you didn't settle on the right direction before. Here's the next word, and I must hurry with the rest of these. Next is definition. A phrase I've used so long, the drama is in the details. Give things definition, give things clarity. That's what's important. Here's the next word, dilemma. We're faced with a lot of dilemmas. Part of the dilemma is learning to sort it all out, what's valuable, what isn't valuable. The why of life, and some whys, cannot be answered. Some mysteries must remain mysteries. They're simply the part of life, but they are mysteries. It seems that this is the way it is to the best of our ability, and we must try our best to understand the dilemmas, but don't persecute yourself, and don't get too hard on yourself now if you don't understand it all, because nobody understands it all. Let part of the dilemma be dilemma. Figure out as much as you possibly can for your life and your children and your future and your business. But let mysteries be mysteries. Let some puzzles be puzzles. And let some of the whys just be whys. Somebody says why, it's just one of those whys. Next is delusion. Make sure you don't get faked out. There's an interesting story that says, don't build your house on the sand in the summer. Because when the sky is blue and the clouds are white, it's easy to get faked out saying, hey, everything is so fine, I'll just build my house on the sand. That would be a mistake. So we must, every once in a while, ask if we might not be participating in some delusions. I wrote this one time, affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. We must affirm our disciplines. We must affirm the truth and not be deluded. The great prayer says, lead us around temptation so we won't be deluded by the allure. Something that tells us it's going to taste good now, but something tells us it might taste good now, but the old prophet said later it turns bitter in the belly. Next is destination. You've got to have some clear places that you want to go. Herbalife is the most stimulating influence I know of, especially when it comes to business, to help you to determine a good destination. Where in 6 months? What accomplishments in 6 months? Change your pin from one to another. Where in terms of reaching people? Where in terms of your ability to influence? Would you like to be 1 year from now, 3 years from now? If you will start clearing up that destination and make your dreams a little more clear, and it's good to just dream about being successful. It's good to just dream about being healthy and powerful. But if you can be a little more clear in your destination, that will help you to secure the direction it takes to get there. And now here's the last one that's vitally important, and I'll close with this, and it's called dignity. One thing Mark chose in the very beginning when he started Herbalife, he decided to live a life of dignity. He wanted to be able to say, I'm proud of the way I started. I'm proud of the way it's gone. I'm proud that I've overcome my mistakes. I'm proud that I've learned from others. I walk with dignity because of the people I've helped, because of the lives I've changed, because of the countries I've now gone into, planted the Herbalife flag, and rendered all this incredible service. I'm proud that I didn't let mistakes overwhelm me. I'm proud I walk with dignity because I can truly say I have sincerely done every meeting. I've sincerely wished the best for everybody. I have sincerely wanted to have a refined marketing system that rewarded everybody for the effort they put in. I sincerely want to change people's health for the better and give them a longer life and a better life. I sincerely wish to do that. And I wish to do it within the guidelines. I wish to do it within a framework that creates dignity and self-respect and company respect. And as I appreciate Mark Hughes more after these 20 years, and I knew him 2 or 3 before then, he walks with dignity. And we all are walking with dignity in this unique enterprise called Herbalife. But in your personal life, make it an absolute that whatever you do, when the final sentences are coined about you and your life, they will say, not only did you do it well, not only did you do it with skill, not only did you do it maybe around the world, but you did it with honor and you did it with dignity. To make that variable, which is you, powerful, here's something to consider. It's called the 4 ifs that make life worthwhile. Here's the first one. Life is worthwhile if you learn. You got to have the information. Without information, our dreams die. We don't have the chance to capitalize on opportunity without the information. So you have to learn. You have to know. It's very important to make life worthwhile. First, you've got to know. We learn first from other people's experiences that come along and teach us, like HBN, like the workshops, like the classes, like the seminars being done around the world. One unique way of learning from other people. But also you've got to learn from yourself. You know, if you've had a poor week, just sit down and go over that week and say, what mistakes did I make? What did I leave undone that I should have done? Here's a couple of things. If I would have done this, I'm telling you, it would have been a different week. If you'll treat it that serious, you can learn whatever it takes to make your life worthwhile. Next, life is worthwhile if you try. You got to do something with what you've learned. Put it to work. We can share ideas all day long, but they have no power to create an organization. The ideas have no power to build a city, no power to conquer disease, no power to bring health, no power to change people's lives unless the ideas are put to work, unless somebody makes a phone call, unless somebody conducts a meeting, unless somebody talks person to person, unless somebody writes a letter, unless somebody takes action. Ideas are neglected. They gather dust. They serve no purpose. So life is worthwhile, first of all, if you learn, and second, if you try. And if you try and it doesn't work out at first, you simply try again. There's more than one way up the mountain. There's more than one way to solve the problem. Try it again. Next, life is worthwhile if you stay. You just have to hang in there. Life is like seasons. You plant in the spring, but you don't plant one day and reap the harvest the next day. It takes time. Some people plant in the spring and they leave in the summer. The weather's a little too hot. The summer's a little too long. You know, the bugs are a little too ferocious. The weeds are everywhere. But you have to learn not only to plant in the spring, but to stay through the summer. It takes time for someone to change. It takes time for someone to comprehend. So you have to have the patience to stay in the field until finally the harvest comes. And you got to have that kind of patience with yourself, right? You can't learn it overnight. You can't accomplish it overnight. But just as sure as the sun keeps rising and the seasons keep changing, your life can take on new dimensions of opportunity if you stay. You've got to stay until the game is finished. You know, what if the team is behind and they finally decide, hey, we're not going to win this game, so we're out of here. And they leave the field or they leave the court. See, we would run them out of town. If you've signed up to play the game, at least stay until that game is over. You don't have to play another game, but if you're signed up for this one, stay until it's finished. So, learn to stay. Learn to hang in there. Through the dark times, through the tough times, learning how to stay. That's part of being a leader. That's part of you being the variable. While others leave, you stay. While others have such a short list, they say there's not that many reasons to stay, they leave, you stay. For those who give up at the least little sign of difficulty, but you stay. That's what will make the difference in your income versus everyone else's. Your ability to stay and see it through. Stay until your organization catches momentum. Stay until you've mastered the skill of doing the meetings, doing the training. Stay long enough until you're good at sharing opportunities, sharing story, sharing testimonials, helping other people change their lives. Just hang in there. Your harvest will surely come. So life is worthwhile if you learn. It's worthwhile if you try. It's worthwhile if you stay. Here's the last one. Life is worthwhile if you share. You got to pass along what you know. Don't keep bottled up the good ideas that have come your way. My job is to get these notes into your notebook. Then it's your job to get those notes into someone else's notebook. Pass along the ideas. It'll help the country. It'll help the community. It'll help our industry. It'll help distributors all around the world. It'll help the distributors you're next to and those so far away you cannot see if you will share. Unique thing about sharing. If you share, you create room for more to replace what you've shared. If a glass is full, if this cup is full, can you put any more in it? And the answer is yes, if you pour some out. So if you pour some out, now you've got room to expect some more. So if you share what you've got, that attitude of sharing, that attitude of passing it along, there's plenty more where it came from for you to share. But if you start sharing by some miracle process, life opens up the windows, opens up the channels, and you'll start receiving even more if you share what you've got. That's why I'm here, for a self-interest reason, because if I share, sure enough, more ideas will flow. If I share with you what I've got, sure enough, I'll open up a place in my consciousness and in my life for more to be poured out upon my life. And so that's why I want to share. Yes, I do wish to help you. Yes, I do wish to lend a hand. I wish to inspire you. I wish to give you ideas that you can at least check them out and see if they might not work for you. But that's not the only reason. It's a self-interest reason, because it says if you give, it isn't gone. If you give, it's invested. And sure enough, from sometimes strange sources, it comes back to you in ways that you never thought of if you develop this idea of sharing. So the variable can be you if you learn these 4 ifs that make life worthwhile. This is a good list that I've put together, inspired by a couple of others and my own contribution, and I'd like to share this list with you. First, learning the power of purpose. A person who has purpose in their life, they have something to go for, some meaning. One writer described it, for some people it becomes a magnificent obsession. And for you and I, maybe it doesn't need to be that dramatic as a magnificent obsession. But it has to be something that does something to us, something that pulls us, especially into the future. You know, there are many influences on us. One is the influence of the past. Some people are always pulled back by the past. Some people are always pulled aside by the distractions. But here's what's powerful. If you have a list of high purpose in your life, it pulls you toward the future. And the more powerful the purpose is, the stronger it pulls. And here's the other great advantage if you have purpose for the future. It pulls you through all kinds of challenges and all kinds of difficulties. If you don't have these strong purposes for the future, it's easy to get swallowed by a bad day. It's easy to be almost annihilated by a poor month. And it's easy sometimes to almost disappear beneath the waves of a year that goes backwards if you don't have something to pull you beyond that year. So if you want something to pull you through all kinds of challenges, all kinds of difficulties and things that come at you, you got to have something on out there, beyond today, beyond next week, beyond next month, beyond this year, that pulls you into the future. And the clearer it is, the stronger it pulls. The more dynamic it is, the more it affects your life, your spirit, your heart, your soul. It also creates imagination. It gets your mind working on how to achieve that purpose. And if your mind will work, and if your heart works, and if your spirit works, and if you have good input, like good ideas, I'm telling you, there isn't anything you can't accomplish. So that's one of the great powers that'll make a variable of you, and that is purpose. Here's the next one, self-confidence. Where does self-confidence come from? And this is the best advice I can give you on that. Not neglecting, first of all, the small daily disciplines. Self-confidence really comes from feeling good about yourself. And one of the best ways to feel good about yourself is at the end of the day to know that you poured it on. You did your best. If you conducted a meeting, you did the best you could. If you made a phone call, it was the best phone call you could possibly make. If you wrote a letter, it wasn't a casual letter, it was your best letter. At the end of those kind of days, when you feel good about yourself, self-confidence starts to rise. You know that if you can have this kind of a good day, you can have another one the next day, and those days become the weeks become the months, and the month becomes a powerful year. Self-confidence comes from the lack of neglect. If you will not neglect to do the small daily disciplines, that's where self-confidence comes from. Part of good health is self-confidence. I know I'm going to be healthy. I take the Herbalife products. I eat the apple a day. I walk around the block. I do the jogging on the beach. At the end of the day, when you've really poured it on and you've done all the stuff, self-confidence grows. That self-confidence affects your health. It affects your future. It affects your psyche. So this is true. One of the great powers is self-confidence. Self-confidence means willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve. Some people say, well, I'll do it for a little while and see what happens. You know, I'll try a couple of things. If that doesn't work, I'm out of here. And all of us know that that kind of person doesn't have much of a future. But if you're willing to do whatever it takes, if I have to learn a couple of things, I will learn those things. If I got to learn 5 or 6 things, I'll learn all 6. If I have to take an extra class, I'll take an extra class. If I've got to read the books, I'll read the books. If I have to consult with people who know more than I know, I will do the necessary consulting. Whatever it takes, I will do. That starts to develop unbelievable self-confidence. Self-confidence also comes from the ability to rise above your circumstances, to rise above what happens, the petty little things, the discouraging things that would sink everyone else's ship except yours, that would cause someone else to quit early in the day, but you keep going. That kind of willingness to overcome all circumstances, whether it's the little challenges or the big challenges. If you're willing to do that, I promise you, this kind of power will work for you, and in you, the variable, it'll make a difference. The third on the list I had was enthusiasm. And here's what I wrote about enthusiasm. Enthusiasm that's powerful is mostly enthusiasm that is enthusiasm inside, 90%, 10% outside. We all know what the enthusiasm is like when somebody lets us see their enthusiasm, which is like the 90%, and only 10% of it is inside. But the enthusiasm that really affects people is not just being loud, but the enthusiasm that runs deep, the enthusiasm that comes from deep inside, created by self-confidence, created by purpose, created by genuine willingness to help other people. That kind of enthusiasm, knowing that you're going to get the job done, knowing you're going to affect people, knowing you're going to have testimonials flowing in from all kinds of directions. That kind of enthusiasm. A lot of it is quiet. A lot of it is unheard. And the 10% that's heard, it rings a bell. People call it genuine enthusiasm because they know that what you say in the outward display of your enthusiasm is only a small tip of the iceberg of the enthusiasm you feel inside that really motivates you to do the best job you can. Next on my list to help you become the powerful variable is expertise. Wanting to excel in all of the skills and settling for nothing less than an outstanding performance. If you're willing to be the best in your field, if you're willing to demand of yourself excellence in skills, to be the best that you can possibly be. In the training, do the best you possibly can. In doing a workshop, do the best you possibly can. Developing the skills of using your personality, developing the skills of language, developing the skills of influence, developing the skills of organizing. If you're willing to be an expert in all of the skills, Herbalife has the way for you to invest those skills and not only make a handsome living, not only make a lot of money, but if you would so desire and if it would be your purpose, a chance to make your fortune. Expertise, excellence in skills. Here was the next one on my list, making a powerful contribution to you, the variable, and that is preparation. Well prepared. And preparation, of course, involves a whole lot of things. A big share of our life is preparing, getting ready. When we go to the first grade in school, we're just preparing for the second grade. After we've finished 2 grades, the 2 grades prepare us for number 3. Sometimes it seems like a long, excruciating time. And the time will just seem like it'll never come when we can finally have the performance that we really want. But it takes time to prepare. It takes time to get ready. And the decisions you make in the preparation time, those are the decisions that last for a lifetime. Preparing to have a good day. It's that preparing, maybe the night before, maybe the couple of days before the day that you're going to put everything together. The preparation for a meeting means that you've taken it serious. The preparation for doing a workshop means you're serious about the workshop. You want to make the best contribution. That kind of preparation is important. But here's preparation that's very vital, and that is to prepare yourself for success. Life seemingly does not wish to waste success on the unprepared. Life says, why waste a fortune on this person? They're not prepared to do the right things with it. They're not prepared to use it wisely. If a fortune was bestowed upon this unprepared person, it would probably be wasted The people that could have been touched won't be touched. What could have been done won't be done, because this fortune will have been wasted on the unprepared person. So not only look for fortune, not only look for the promise, but prepare yourself and ask of yourself, what can I do to make myself ready? Because remember, life was designed not to give us what we want, not to give us what we need, but life was designed to give us what we deserve. Every value in life must be paid for, and those that pay are the ones that get it. It says those that give receive. Someone says, I wish to receive, I wish to receive. You don't have to concentrate on receiving. Just become a good giver. It says those that search will find. Someone says, well, I need to find some good ideas to help change my life for the future. Then to find good ideas, that doesn't come because you need them. It comes because you search for them. If you want good ideas, you got to go after them. You got to go to the class, you got to go to the workshop, you got to go to the training, go to the book, right? You got to go to the journal, right? Go where good ideas are being taught. Go searching, go looking, because good ideas are not going to be wasted on those that are not seeking, searching, well prepared. So, prepare yourself to be ready for fortune when it comes, to be ready for challenge when it comes, to be ready for opportunity when it comes. Opportunity comes along and passes by the person that is not well prepared. I want to prepare myself this year for next year. Yes, I wish to be effective this year, but I'm also thinking of ways, how could I be better? How could my ideas be more powerful? How could they be sharper, more clear? How could I reach some people next year that I perhaps can't reach this year? I haven't reached deep enough into my own soul to affect some people. Some people just pass by and say, hey, what a good speech. But how could I make it stronger than that, deeper than that, more powerful than that? I cannot be as powerful as I could be next year. You know, you can't go to the 10th grade in the 5th grade. You just got to go through the grades. But the more you are prepared, when the 10th grade finally comes, now you can cash in and get 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more value from it by being prepared. I want to do my best this year for Herbalife, but I also want to get ready for next year, 1999. And then when the year 2000 comes, at the turn of the century, I want to be well equipped by language, by instinct, by temperament, by personality, by influence, to really be valuable the year 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my goal. I'm sure it's your goal. Now here's the next one. There's great power in self-reliance. Self-reliance means you simply look mostly to yourself. It would be nice if someone just gave you this, gave you this, gave you this. It would be nice if everyone did their job exactly as they're supposed to do it. But here's what you've got to do. Primarily rely on yourself. Primarily say, I'm the person responsible. And I will learn the necessary skills so that I can help people learn their skills. If I need lots of people to do certain things to build my organization, that is what I must have. But I've got to be the final backstop. I've got to be the final one that people can rely on, so that if this is missed and this is missed, I can catch up, I can fill the gap, I can do the job. We have to do it when we conduct meetings. We have to do it when we conduct training. We have to do it when we're in a class of just a few. What someone might have missed, we're there to fill in. Self-reliance. Primarily, we're learning to count on yourself, so that you can do this: never complain and never explain. Here's the next key power, and that's image. There's many parts to image. The image that others see you as, the image you have with other people. And it's very important how other people see you. If they don't see you as a leader, chances are they won't pay attention. If they don't see you as being in control, chances are they won't have the trust. If they don't see you as knowing where you're going, what you want to accomplish, they probably won't follow. But if people can see you, if you have the image of someone that's in charge, in control, in control of your life, your future, your destiny, in control of the situation, if they see that, that kind of image is powerful. It helps to win the day. It attracts other people. People want to be around people that are in control, that are powerful, but they know how to use their power, influential, but they know how to use their influence. That kind of image is important. But here's a very important image, and that is your image of yourself. The way you dress, the way you talk, the way you think, your capacity for learning, all of that is an important image that you have of yourself. The image that you have that if it needs to be learned, you could learn it. If there's a book that needs to be mastered, you could master it. If there's a skill that needs to be learned, why couldn't you get busy now and learn that skill? That kind of self-image, that I am continually trying my best to be the best I can. Because one of the most important places you have to look is into the future, yes. You got to look into the past, yes. You've got to look around, yes. But one of the most important places you have to look is in the mirror. You know, how I appear to other people, that's important. But how I appear to myself is the ultimate importance. That kind of image, to where you'll develop the self-confidence, you'll develop the self-reliance. Now here's another one in my rather short list. The next word is character. Becoming a person of high values, a person of principles, a person of honesty, a person that earns respect. That kind of character. It took character when Mark started to put the marketing system together. How can we have a system that will build in the integrity, that people will know that if this happens, then this will happen. And if this goes wrong, here's the way to fix it. Unless you have the principles and the character and the integrity to put together a viable plan for a wide variety of people, then the system is not going to last very long. And I've been around long enough, and I'm sure you have been around long enough to see a lot of systems that got started, but they failed. And the reason is because they were not constructed with integrity. They were not constructed with character. They were not constructed with doing the right thing. They might have been constructed to take advantage. You know, cash it out as quickly as possible and leave. Mark was involved when others took advantage of him all those years ago before Herbalife. When someone took advantage and didn't have the character, didn't have the principles, and didn't have the character to stay, the character to see it through, the character to do the right thing. So this is important, to develop the character within yourself, that people see you as honest, as fair, willing to do the right thing, willing to be helpful, but always willing to walk the center line, not to pass the line. When we come to an opportunity like Herbalife, especially multi-level network marketing, it is so dynamic, it is so powerful, and it is so possible in fortune making that sometimes people want to speed up the process by cutting the corners, by neglecting to do the right things, you know, to cheat a little here, you know, cross the line just a little bit, because then, you know, it'll grow faster and you can cash in quicker. Not necessary here. Doing Herbalife right will build your fortune longer and stronger than trying to cut the corners and not doing it right. If we'll have the integrity that Mark had when he started it, and keep perpetuating that we will do the right thing by the marketing system, the right thing by a distributor who has a customer and they take care of that customer belongs to that distributor. That kind of integrity in the marketing system, the kind of integrity we have among each other, the kind of character we have to rely on each other, because here's what we cannot do. We cannot do this by ourselves. Mark's got to count on me. I've got to count on Mark. We've got to count on the president's team. The president's team has to count on the chairman's club for advice and counsel. We have to count on the millionaire team, the tabulator team, the world team. We've got to count on the distributor. We've got to count on the distributor giving the right message to the potential customer. We've got to count on the distributor giving wise counsel to the new recruit, teaching them the right way, the Herbalife way, the principled way, the character way. Vitally important. Building and developing your own character. Now here's another one. It's called self-discipline. Self-discipline, all of us have a challenge with that. Because sometimes it's easy, and especially if you're working hard, doing the best you can, it's easy sometimes to let up and let it go. But remember, so many people, especially now that we're as big as we are around the world, are counting on what we do. At home office, they have to be careful. They have to be disciplined. It's easy for the person who ships the product from Herbalife says, oh, well, I'll wait until tomorrow to ship it. And then they go home and sleep like a baby. But the distributor who's waiting for that product doesn't sleep that night, or doesn't sleep when the product doesn't show on time. But if everybody will have the discipline to say, I will do the best job I can. I will make mistakes, of course, because we're all human, but I'll try to remedy those mistakes and do the best job I can. That kind of self-discipline that understands how important your part is in all of the functions that work. Coming to work on the set here, HBN, there's so many people that play a part. And each one of the parts that are played is necessary to put on the broadcast, make it viable, make it real, make it powerful. Any couple of them missing, and it would be a disaster. But all of it put together, and it works like a charm. Each person developing the self-discipline to do their part, do their job. Here's one more, and that is the power of extraordinary performance and demanding of yourself excellent results. This is so important. If you want to live extraordinary, you must do extraordinary. If you want an extraordinary income, you must do extraordinary things. If you want an extraordinary fortune, you must go with the demands of what it takes to have that fortune. Mark has made such a fortune, it's almost beyond comprehension what the numbers really are. But guess what he has the satisfaction of knowing? He earned it all. If he'd have been lax in the performance, Herbalife would not be here these 18 years later. Herbalife would have been a footnote in multi-level history. But because he performed year after year, the 3rd year and the 5th year, and the 7th year and the 10th year, and the 12th year and the 15th year, and now performing well in the 18th year, I'm telling you, that's what makes it such a viable fortune for Mark personally, of course, because he did the job, but a fortune-making potential for all of us. If we would ask of ourselves that kind of performance, and you've got to ask it of yourself. You know, I can't ask it of you. I would try to inspire you. I would try my best to share with you what it might taste like, what it's like to finally make your fortune. It happened for me. But here's what you must do. You must demand it of yourself. Society does not demand that you not have a heart attack. But if you want to escape having a heart attack, you must demand it of yourself. Society doesn't demand that you take Herbalife and improve your health. You have to demand it of yourself. Society doesn't demand that you jog around the block every morning. But if you want good health, you must demand it of yourself. Society doesn't demand that you read a couple of books a week and improve your intelligence and your knowledge. That you must demand of yourself. Society does not demand that you build a financial wall around your family nothing can get through. That's not a demand of society. But you must demand it, if you wish it, you must demand it of yourself. Society doesn't demand that you learn a list of 10 skills in order to ensure your own future and the future of your family. Society doesn't demand it, doesn't require it. It is not a law. But if you want the benefit, you must demand it of yourself. Excellent performance leads to excellent fortune, leads to excellent income. But you must demand it of yourself. So to have the extraordinary joys, you must do the extraordinary things. To have experiences that carry you on wings of ecstasy and joy and pleasure, you can't have those unless you do the things that creates that kind of experience. But I would wish that for you. I've experienced it in my life to some degree. I want to experience it a lot more, and that's why I'm here. to participate with all of you, take this journey together, walk down the road, arm in arm, no telling what we can accomplish. Together, we can affect the nations where we live. We can affect the communities where we reside. Doing it together around the world, we can affect our organization multiplied by 2, 3, 5, 10. We can affect our families. We can affect our income. We can affect our lifestyle. If we'll pay attention to the variable, which is you, and the variable in my life, which is me, and consider the things that I've shared with you today, I think it'll add to what we can accomplish pretty soon, but also winding up this century, getting ready for the next.